Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama.
Namaste, and welcome to the first sadhana video of the Shiva Shakti online Ayurvedic yoga teacher training. You'll have 4 of these sadhana videos included in this course, one each week. The sadhana videos include asana, pranayama, mantra, and meditation. And these practices will focus on a different dosha each week. So this first video is focused on Vata dosha. When we think of Vata dosha, we want to think of the elements of air and ether, which are Vata's primary elements. When we think of the qualities of Vata dosha, and specifically of the air and ether elements, we think of lightness, as in light and weight. Air and ether being space, they don't have a whole lot of density to them whatsoever. And so we're thinking about how Vata has a light quality to it. Furthermore, air and ether have a dry quality to them. When you think of how the wind blows and it creates dryness in the air, so this is what Vata can show, how it can manifest in the body as a dry quality. And we also want to think about how air and ether have a cool, cold quality to them. And so Vata tends on the colder side. So when we look for a practice to pacify Vata dosha, we're looking for a practice that balances those qualities. So that light quality, we're going to look for a yoga practice that grounds the body, that embodies us, that tunes us down into the earth element to help balance out that light, airy tendency to fly away that's characteristic of Vata. We're also looking for a warming practice to offset the cold qualities of Vata. So we don't want a practice that overheats the body, as Vata doesn't do well with extremes, but a practice that's gently warming. And then we want a practice that will lubricate the joints, create a juiciness and a fluidity in the body to balance out the dryness, sometimes even the rigidity that can go with Vata dosha. So you'll see in the practices today, we're looking for those qualities to help balance Vata. When we think of where Vata manifests primarily in the body, its main seat is right here in the lower abdomen, from the navel downward, and the hips. So that lower abdomen, reproductive region, hips, pelvis, and right down into the legs as well. That's all the seat of Vata. So you'll notice that the asanas we're working on are really going to look to open up those hips to invoke a smooth flow for Vata in the body. As we're doing this practice, please listen to your body. If anything feels like too much, just take a pause, just simply breathe, and really listen into what your body has to say. Forcing is never encouraged in the practice, and especially with Vata dosha, forcing just aggravates Vata all the more. When we speak of this Vata dosha, we're speaking to people who have Vata foremost in their constitution, and this practice can be very helpful for them. That's when we speak about the prakriti, the constitution. Those words will be defined in more depth in subsequent videos this week. And also the current state of a person, their vikriti. If Vata is out of balance in a person and it's high and we're looking to reduce it, then this is a great practice. And if you're taking this course, whether or not Vata is your primary in your constitution or whether or not you have high Vata right now, just explore this video. Notice what the practice evokes in you. Notice the qualities that you feel. Notice any elements that are arising in your body. And just be investigative, if that's a word, in the practice to say, what is this doing in my body? That's the kind of mindset you want to put on when you're exploring these different qualities with the doshic specific practices. So let's get started. Coming onto your mat, coming into a simple cross-legged position. Make sure that your hips feel comfortable and your knees. We really want to pay attention to the joints in this practice. If your hips are feeling a little bit tight or are tight in general, just elevate those hips with a blanket or a pillow or a block or a bolster. You want to make sure the hips are just slightly higher than the knees. And now, resting the hands on the legs to begin with. You can go ahead and close the eyes. We're going to begin with a gentle breathing practice. Beginning with the 3-part yogic breath, Dirga Pranayama. Let your in-breath come down deep into your belly, right down into the abdomen, filling the belly. And on the exhale, exhaling out from the belly, just focusing on this region for right now. Inhale, breathing into the belly, and exhale, releasing. Go ahead and place your hands down over the lower abdomen. Inhale, filling the lower abdomen, feel your hands expand. And exhale, on the exhale, you feel the hands sink back towards the spine. Continuing with this flow through the nose. Inhale, filling the abdomen. And exhale, releasing, letting all that breath go. Breathing in. As you breathe into the belly, also think about the low back. Imagine you're breathing into your low back too. And exhale, release. You can slide one hand up onto your heart or upper chest. Breathing in, letting the inhale come down deep into the belly, and then feel it rising up to also expand the rib cage. And exhale out, this time first from the belly and then from the chest. Even if you've learned the 3-part breath with exhaling from the top down, just try this. Inhale, filling the belly first, then feeling the rib cage expand. And then exhale out from the belly first, like you're pressing that breath out and letting it flow out from the chest too. Breathing in, fill the belly, fill the chest, and let the breath come right up to the clavicles, the collarbones. And then exhale out from the belly, from the mid-chest, and finally from the upper chest. And keep this breath going. Breathing in, filling the belly, filling the chest right up to the collarbones, and exhaling out in a long, smooth flow. If you've learned 3-part breath with the opposite form of an exhale, exhaling out from the upper chest, mid-chest, and then the belly, you're welcome to begin practicing that way too. Either form of the exhale is fine, from the base up or from the top down. So doing some of this Dirga Pranayama, no forcing, just letting the breath be as deep as feels comfortable for your body. Being mindful not to force at all in this practice, as that will only imbalance Vata dosha. One more long, deep breath in. And exhale, release, letting the hands come down. Just noticing how you feel after practicing Dirga Pranayama. And beginning a little bit of Ujjayi breath now, the victorious breath, the ocean sounding breath. If you're familiar with Ujjayi, just go ahead and begin creating that sound in the back of the throat. If you're not familiar with Ujjayi, take one hand, bring it up in front of your face with the palm facing you. You want to imagine that this hand is a mirror and that you're going to fog it up with your breath. So you're going to open your mouth, you're going to breathe in, and then you're going to breathe out with a ha sound, like you're going to fog up that mirror. Go ahead and try. Inhale, and again, inhale. Good, so you feel that breath on the hand, you're fogging up your mirror here. And now see if you can, keeping the hand up, see if you can create the same sound as you breathe in. Just notice the sensation in the back of the throat that creates that sound, and do it on the inhale. Good, closing your mouth now. Continue to create that sound, but breathe in and out through the nose. Good, continue with that. And you're keeping that hand up for a few moments, just so you know that the breath is reaching the hand. If you don't feel any breath, you're not breathing deep enough. You need to breathe a little bit deeper. So here we go. Good, continuing with that Dirga. If you feel like you're straining in the back of the throat, you're working too hard. It should just feel like a slight contraction on the back of the throat, slight closure, not enough to seal off the air, but just enough at that glottis area that you're creating this sound. And the Ujjayi breath is wonderful because not only is it calming to the body, but it's also warming. So it's an excellent practice for Vata dosha. So go ahead, 2 more breaths of that Ujjayi, warming the body, relaxing the body. And then you can release Ujjayi pranayama, breathing naturally, feeling the effects from both Dirga pranayama, which is a deeply grounding and relaxing pranayama, and also the Ujjayi, the victorious breath that creates some gentle heat in the body. When we come to our asana here in a few moments, you can continue to keep that Ujjayi breath flowing throughout the entirety of the asana practice. It helps not only to focus the mind, but as I said before, to keep that warmth in the body. Do one more pranayama in the seated position here. Take your right hand, fold the first 2 fingers down to the base of the thumb. Ring finger and pinky are up, thumb is up. This is known as Vishnu Mudra. You're going to bring that hand in front of the face. You're going to be using your right thumb to close off your right nostril and your ring finger and pinky to close off the left nostril. We're going to practice Surya Vedana. Surya means sun, Vedana means piercing. So this is the sun piercing breath. It's a heating pranayama. We're not going to do a lot of this, just enough to notice if we feel any heat in the body. So we're going to breathe in through the right nostril and out through the left nostril. Then return in through the right and out through the left. Here we go. Closing the eyes, focusing at the third eye center between the eyebrows. Inhale through the right nostril. Close the right nostril and exhale left. Inhale through the right nostril. And then exhale through the left. Continuing, inhale right. And exhale left. Taking 5 more breaths like this at a pace that feels comfortable for your body. You want to make sure that your inhales and exhales are of equal length, that you're not forcing or straining. And just counting, doing those 5 more breaths. When you've completed those breaths, letting the hand come back down to the leg, breathing naturally, noticing how you feel after Surya Vedana. Do you notice any effects in your body? Do you feel any warmth? Surya Vedana corresponds to the Pingala Nadi, the Pingala energy channel on the right side of the body. You have Ida on the left, Pingala on the right, and Sushumna Nadi in the center. So Pingala corresponds to the sun. It's heating, it's an active channel. So when we do this pranayama, it invokes warmth in the body. So let's come on to our hands and knees to begin some warm-ups. If your knees are sensitive at all, feel free to slide a blanket underneath your knees. And if your wrists are sensitive at all, feel free to roll up your mat a little bit to take some pressure off the wrists, or make fists with the hands. Otherwise, you can spread the fingers, grounding down through the hands, and we're going to begin with some cat-cow here. So go ahead and round the back, letting the head sink down, and then tilt the tailbone up, belly sinking, face rising, and exhale round, and inhale arch, breathing in and out through the nose, using that gentle ujjayi breath, that ocean sounding breath. And as you're moving, let the awareness of the movement begin at the tailbone, tucking the tailbone under each time you round, and tilting the tailbone up each time you arch, letting the movement originate at the base of the spine, tuning into the seat of Vata in the pelvis. Looking to loosen up any tension in your low back and the rest of the spine. We're really tuning into this low back and abdominal region. And grounding through your hands, your knees, your feet. Anytime we have all four limbs on the floor, it helps us to connect with that earth element. And so in this practice for Vata today, thinking about that earth element. So imagine you're drawing the grounding quality of earth up through the palms of your hands, up through your knees, up through the tops of your feet. Good, return back to a flat back position. And just begin to circle the hips a little bit in the air. Circling them around, out to each side. If you need to move your hands forward a bit, feel free to do so. Breathing into the side hips, around the front, around the back. Loosening up this Vata region of the body. Good, and then go ahead and switch, going the other way. With a Vata practice, we look for a steady pace, not too fast, not too slow that you get really cold, but especially not too fast, not too taxing on the muscles and the joints. So you'll feel a steadiness to today's practice. Practicing in a regular, steady, warming manner is key for Vata dosha. Good, go ahead and return back to center. Tuck your toes under. Begin to lift the hips up, Adho Mukha Svanasana. Being careful not to overstretch the hamstrings. So if you're feeling some tension in the backs of your legs, keep a little bend in the knees and just start by pedaling out your legs. Oftentimes when we try to overstretch those hamstrings, that's a great way to imbalance Vata further. Vata has a tendency to hold tension in the hamstrings, so we want to be particularly mindful of this. If you do feel comfortable letting those heels sink down in the direction of the floor, feel free to do so. If it feels better to keep a little bend in the knees right now, you're welcome to do so. And just bring your awareness to the feet and to the hands, grounding into them, again connecting to the earth. And slowly now, beginning to walk your feet forward towards your hands until you come hanging down in a loose and relaxed forward fold, putting a little bend in your knees. You don't want to straighten the legs too quickly and tax the hamstrings. Just let the body be relaxed down here. And then slowly you can begin to roll up to standing. Coming slowly up, setting each vertebrae on top of the lower one as you roll your way up to standing. And when you come all the way up, roll your shoulders back a few times, releasing tension off the tops of the shoulders. Another region where Vata can tend to accumulate in is the tops of the shoulders. There's a marma point on the top of the shoulders called Ansamarma, and we can have a tendency for the Vata to creep in there. Now, standing with the feet hip width apart, take a moment to really ground into your feet. You'll hear me speak about the feet a lot in our standing practice today. The more we bring our awareness to our feet, then the prana will flow there. Prana follows attention, so if your attention moves to your feet, then the prana goes there, and that will help to ground Vata. When we think about Vata dosha, we want to think about apana vayu. There's 5 vayus, and this is going to be described in much more depth in videos coming up in this week and next week. But apana vayu is the flow of energy in the body that moves from the navel downwards. It governs elimination, it governs menses, the act of having a baby for women, elimination, urination, anything moving down and out of the body. And so it's very important with Vata that we keep that flow moving downwards to create balance. Now, in our culture, we're very often moving up into the head. It's a sign of these times, and it's not just this culture, it's really all around the world. The energy rises up. When we're stressed, energy goes upwards, and that creates an imbalance in this apana. Rather than going down, it gets a little bit twirled around and it starts to go up a little bit. And then we find all kinds of imbalances. Constipation, headaches, sleeplessness, worry, so on. We'll be describing this more later. But we want to help that apana vayu to flow downwards smoothly when we come to a Vata practice. And so bringing the awareness to the feet is key. This will help to ground the Vata. This will help to encourage apana to flow downward in a smooth flow. So grounding into those feet, spread the toes wide apart. Feel your weight in your feet balanced front to back, from the balls of the feet to the heels, from the heels forward. Really connecting to the earth. You can put a little bend in the knees too. And now we're going to take a few sun breaths here, invoking the warmth, the vitality of Surya, the sun. So take your arms out to the side. Inhale, sweeping those arms up. Bring your palms together. And then exhale, drawing hands down the midline of the body, like you're drawing the energy of the sun into your body. Let's do that again. Inhale. And exhale. Inhale. And exhale. And again, inhale. One more time. Inhale, sweeping those arms up. Exhale, drawing that energy of the sun down into your body. Good, and release the hands. Turn to face forward on your mat, coming up towards the front of your mat. Stepping the feet either hip width apart or together. We're going to take a few rounds of Surya Namaskar, sun salutation. We're going to move steadily, gently through this practice, but we're looking to invoke the warmth in the body. So whichever feels best for you, feet together or hip width apart. Grounding into the feet as you come up your body, lightly engaging the thighs to lift up on the kneecaps, dropping the tailbone down towards the earth, lifting at the side ribs up away from your side hips so there's space in the waist. Lifting up through the heart center, shoulders up, back and down, and extending down through your fingertips. Lift right up through the crown of the head. Relax your jaw. Relax the corners of the eyes. Inhale and exhale, drawing the hands together in front of your heart. Inhale, reach those arms out. Taking a very gentle back bend, lightly pressing the hips forward. And exhale. Bring the hands into your heart as you hinge forward, coming down into a forward fold, taking any pressure off the back. So if you're feeling tension in the backs of the legs, feel free to put a little bend into the knees. Go ahead and step that right foot back, taking the right knee down to the floor. Low lunge here. Let your focus come into the front of the right hip and pelvis, opening this region. Very important for Vata. Ground the hands, stepping back into a plank position. And now lower down onto your knees. Let your chest come down between the hands with the elbows hugging your sides. And you can rest on your chin or your forehead. If it's easier to come flat down onto the mat, feel free to do so. Coming up, just gently without using the hands in this first round. We don't want to overtax the low back quickly in the practice. Turn the face up, opening the chest. And then go ahead and tuck those toes under, pressing on back, Adho Mukha Svanasana. And so back into your downward dog with those hands and feet all grounding into the earth. Feel that connection to the earth again. Then with your next inhale, step the right foot forward, letting the left knee come down to the floor, opening, breathing into the front of that left hip. And with your next exhale, step the left foot forward, coming back to your forward fold. And then inhale, sweep those arms all the way up, gentle back bend. And exhale, release the hands to heart center. Inhale, sweep those arms up and back. Exhale, palms together, folding down. Inhale, the left foot back, left knee coming down to the floor. Step back into a plank position. And then exhale, either flat to the mat or knees, chest, and chin for Ashtangasana. Releasing the hips, lifting through the heart. Just a gentle Bhujangasana. Keep the front of the hips touching the mat. Exhale, press on back. Adho Mukha Svanasana. And again, take a breath here, in and out. Breathing in the grounding qualities of the earth. And then with your next inhale, step the left foot forward, right knee coming down. And exhale, down, forward fold. Exhaling. Inhale, sweep the arms up, reaching back. And exhale, hands to heart. Inhale, feeling the flow, creating fluidity in your body. Exhale, hinged forward. Inhale the right foot back, high lunge this time, and just lift and lower that right knee a few times, continuing to warm up the right hamstring. Step back into a plank position. Exhale, flat to the mat or knees, chest, and chin. Inhale, cobra. Be very mindful of your low back, that you're not overdoing it. And exhale, press back into a downward dog. Inhale the right foot forward, high lunge. Lift and lower that left knee as you continue to warm up the back of the leg. And exhale, left foot steps forward. Reverse swan dive, sweep those arms all the way up. Take a gentle back bend. And exhale, hands to heart. And again, inhale, reaching up, feeling that flow through the body as you invoke the energy of Surya in your body. Left foot back. And lifting and lowering. Step back into your plank. Exhale, Ashtangasana. Inhale, Bhujangasana. And exhale, Adho Mukha Svanasana. Inhale, left foot comes forward. Pulsing that right knee up and down, warming the body. Right foot steps forward. Reverse swan dive as you sweep those arms up. Gently reaching back. Hands to heart center. One more round. Inhale, reaching up. And exhale, hinging forward, coming down, Padahastasana. Step back with that right foot, high lunge. This time shift your hips back, straightening the left leg any amount that works and feels comfortable for you. Rocking forward again. Shift the hips back, rock forward. Warming up those legs some more. Steady rhythmic movements are excellent for Vata dosha. Ground the hands, plank position, lowering down, 8 points pose. Inhale, cobra. You notice we keep coming back to touch the earth again and again in Surya Namaskar, to let the whole body come down to touch the floor. So helpful to keep invoking that earth element in the body. So we're on the other side now, rocking forward and back, warming up those legs. Exhale now, stepping the left foot forward. Inhale, sweep the arms all the way up and back. Exhale, hands to heart. Last side. Inhale, reaching up and back. And exhale, fold forward. Left foot steps back. One more time, rock those hips forward and back. Warming the body. Rock forward, ground the hands, step back into your plank, and lower down knees, chest, and chin. Inhale, Bhujangasana, your cobra. Press back, Adho Mukha Svanasana. Inhale the left foot forward, rocking back, rocking forward. And bend that left knee. Exhale the right foot forward. Inhale, sweep the arms all the way up and back. Exhale, hands to your heart. And release the hands down by your side. Standing here for a moment in Samastitihi. You could stay where you are, I'll just turn to face you. So grounding down through the feet. Put a little bend in the knees and lightly place your right hand against your lower abdomen, the left hand on top. And just breathe here, focusing the breath both into the feet and into the lower abdomen. You can close your eyes if you feel steady and just ground. Feeling the warmth that you've created in your body from Surya Namaskar, and feeling the grounding, returning your awareness to the soles of the feet. Imagine that you're breathing in and out through the base of your feet, connecting to the earth with every breath. Releasing the hands. Go ahead and step the right foot back. We're going to set up for Virabhadrasana 1, Warrior 1. So left toes are pointing forward, right toes are turned out to a 45-degree angle, or you're also welcome to come up onto the ball of that right foot to take pressure off the inside of the knee. Go ahead and bend that left knee. Before you do anything with the arms, just place your hands on your hips here for a moment. Setting up the legs here. Be mindful that if you're feeling a strain in the back thigh, not to overdo it. That's not the intention with a Vata pacifying practice. So hips are sinking down and you're grounding through the feet. Just bring your awareness to your feet. When Vata is high in the body and it's out of balance, we can forget the arms in these standing poses altogether. We can just focus on the legs. The more we bring the awareness to the legs, the more that we help to ground and we bring that energy back down. If you do feel steady, you can bring the arms in, but do so slowly. Let's just do an experiment here. So you've got your legs in position. And now, slowly, begin to inhale, bringing the arms up. Notice any subtle changes in the prana, the life force in your body. Go ahead and exhale the hands back down, keeping the legs where they are. Let's just try that one more time. You can even close your eyes to really let your awareness tune in. Inhale. Lift the arms up. Holding here. Opening the front of the chest. Opening the belly. And exhale, release the hands down. Go ahead and straighten the legs. Do you notice the impact when you involve the arms? If it feels too subtle and you're not quite catching it yet, don't worry, you will. We'll keep doing it. But I just wanted you to tune into that for a moment. Now turning your hips out to the long side of the mat. Bend that left knee for Virabhadrasana 2, Warrior 2, and straighten it. Just a rhythmic movement, in and out. Very helpful for Vata to return to rhythm. Not only in your yoga practice, but in your life and all your actions. Go ahead and hold now. Finding a rhythm to your day, to the course of all your actions. If life feels rhythmic rather than all over the place chaotic, it really helps for Vata. Grounding down into the outer blade of your back foot, making sure your left knee isn't tracking to the inside, but rather it's tracking down the center line of that front foot. And bring your hands to your hips for a moment. Check in with your pelvis. Is your pelvis level? Are you tilting your tailbone forward? If you are, go ahead and drop that tailbone down a little bit. Not tucking it under too far, but just letting it drop so you come to a neutral pelvis here. Feeling grounded through your legs. And if you like, you can bring those arms up. But if that feels like too much for your body, if you've noticed that Vata is increasing as you bring your arms up, just leave your arms out of the practice and just do the legs. Go ahead and straighten that front leg. Turn your left toes in a bit, your right toes out a bit. We're going to set up for Goddess Pose Devyasana here. So both feet facing out equally. And before we hold this, let's just sink in and out a few times. Bending the knees, coming up. Bending the knees, sinking down, and rising. One more time. Sink down, holding here. Good. Feel that ground and let the tailbone drop. Engaging the abdomen slightly. Bring the arms out at either side. And go ahead and bend at the elbows. Fingertips spread wide apart. Good. Breathing. And then release the hands down. Straightening the legs. Pivoting on the feet to set up for Warrior 2, Virabhadrasana 2 on the other side. So your right toes face the back of the mat, left toes turning in. And again, rhythmic movement coming in and out a few times. Rocking, straightening, rocking, straightening. Good. And now holding here. Tailbone dropping, right knee is bent, right knee's tracking down the center line of that foot, and you're grounding into that back foot. Just let your awareness be in the feet. Imagine you have eyes in the bottom of the feet and you're peering into the ground, bringing your consciousness back to the earth. And if you like, feel free to bring those arms up, only if it feels comfortable. Release the hands down. Pivoting on the feet to face the back of your mat. Right toes facing towards the back of the mat. Left toes turned out at a 45-degree angle. Hips facing forward for Virabhadrasana 1. Go ahead and bend that right knee. Checking in with that back foot to see what feels comfortable. If you want to come up on the ball of the back foot, feel free. And just bringing the hands to the hips. And then bring your awareness up to the abdomen, up to the chest. Without overarching the back, just breathe into your belly. Breathe into the chest. Warrior One is excellent for supporting the appetite in a Vata who has a low appetite, or for enkindling the Agni, the fire in the body. And now, if you like, go ahead and sweep those arms up. If you're noticing that you feel more grounded and that it helps you in this practice to keep the arms down, feel free to do the standing practice today just with hands coming no higher than the hips. Go ahead and straighten that back leg. Pivot the feet back around. Heel toe the feet back together again. Go ahead and shake the legs out, releasing any rigidity that can creep into the body through holding those standing poses. Invoking fluidity. Now we're going to begin to ground down through the right foot. Stand, our balancing practice here. We'll take Vrikshasana, tree pose. So as you ground down into the right foot, before you even bring the other leg up, just really focus on that foot, that right foot. Visualize that you have roots growing down out of your feet, reaching deep into the earth. They're drawing all the nutrients of the earth up into your body. They're nourishing, grounding, stabilizing, calming your being. And then as this trunk, your tree trunk, your leg begins to feel really solid, you can feel free to bring your other foot to the ankle, just beneath the knee, or right up into the inner thigh. Whatever feels best for you. But holding here. Focus your eyes on a steady drishti on the floor. If you feel steady, you can bring the hands to the heart. Holding here for as long as feels comfortable. If you do want to take the hands further up, you're welcome to. But you can also just keep the hands at the heart, bringing yourself to center, which is so helpful for Vata. Release. Shaking out the legs and switching sides. Grounding down into that left foot. Let the roots grow deep, reaching down into the earth, drinking up the moisture that's held in the earth, offsetting any dryness in the body by drawing that lubrication up into the body. And as that leg feels steady, feel free to bring your other foot to the ankle, or to just below the knee, or up into the inner thigh. Grounding. Hold for as long as feels comfortable there. And then if you want to bring the hands to the heart, you can, or bring the hands up overhead, you can. Finding steadiness, calm, stability, and release. Shaking out the legs, shake out the arms. And come back to the front of the mat. Bringing the hands together in front of you. Inhale, sweeping those arms up and back. And exhale, fold forward, coming down into a forward bend. Stepping back into Adho Mukha Svanasana, your downward dog again. Taking some breaths here. Connecting to the earth. Again and again, coming back to this awareness of earth, because this is what will help to balance Vata. Breathing in and breathing out. And now just stepping the feet a little bit wider apart towards the opposite edge of your mat. Bending the knees, turn the toes out and the heels in. And begin to walk the hands back as you sink down into a squat, a malasana. If it feels like you need a little support underneath your heels, feel free to take that blanket and tuck it underneath your heels to elevate the heels. Hands can come together in front of the heart, elbows resting inside of the knees. So Malasana, excellent for Vata dosha, one of the best postures for pacifying Vata, for a couple of reasons. There's a couple different meanings to the word mala depending on how you're saying the word. Is it mala or mala? So one of the definitions of malasana is a garland pose, which we know well. Another definition of mala is waist. And so this can also be known as the waist relieving pose. Any of you who have been to India or looked at books about India or watched videos about India may have noticed that people often defecate in this position. It is an excellent position for releasing. It's an excellent position for encouraging the natural flow of apana vayu. We'll speak more about those vayus, but you remember I mentioned that earlier in this practice. We want a practice that helps energy to flow downwards to balance vata. So as you're holding malasana, tuning into that, so helpful for grounding. And then bring your hands down, transitioning onto your knees, sitting back on your heels for Virasana. Your hands can rest on the thighs here. And just taking a few minutes to breathe and let your awareness move in deep. Be mindful that your pelvis is balanced here. Really important for Vata to keep tuning that awareness back into the pelvis. So if your pelvis is rocked forward, just drop the tailbone back down. Holding here and breathing. Feel the breath. Come up from the earth. Come right up to the crown of the head. And then as you exhale, feel it descend back down to the body. Drawing the source of the breath from the earth. Inhale up through your root, right up to the crown of your head. And exhale down. Again, inhale up. And exhale down. You can come up onto your knees. We're going to take Ustrasana, camel pose. If you'd like a blanket underneath your knees, feel free to place it there. Make sure your knees are hip width apart, toes pointing back. Hands are going to come to rest on your low back. So rather than reaching right back for your heels, if that's what you're used to, reaching up and back, let's just take this slow first, taking it gently to help keep Vata balance. So hands supporting the low back because we don't want to overtax that lumbar region. That just sends Vata right off the roof. So hands on the low back, ground down into your knees. Begin to press the hips gently forward. Lightly engage your abdominal muscles to protect the low back so that you don't overtax and crunch those lumbar vertebrae. And then lift through the heart, opening through the chest. Now you can keep your head up, lightly engaging in the front of the throat if you have any issues in your cervical vertebrae. Or if you'd like to take your head further back, bring your chin in towards your chest first, creating space down the back of the neck. And then you can gently take that head back. Holding here for a couple breaths, breathing into the abdomen and the chest. This is helping again to enkindle the Agni, creating space in the abdominal region and in the stomach to increase the appetite, which is often kind of slight in a Vata. Inhale, coming up. Exhale, coming forward onto the hands and knees. Give a little rock with the hips side to side. Widen those knees out to either side of your back. And now I'm going to give you a couple of options here as we prepare for Mandukasana, frog pose. You can take a gentle variation of frog, bringing your toes together, your hips are wide, and you can just keep the legs just like that. No extra pressure on the hips. Letting the chest sink towards the floor, and you can draw your elbows back in line with the knees, fingertips stretching straight out,
Fingers spread wide like a frog, feeling the earth. And you can rest on your chin or turn your head to one side. If you'd like to take it a little bit deeper, then you can turn those feet out to either side, being mindful that you don't overtax the knees and the hips here, and let your chest sink down. If that feels like too much in your knees, you're welcome to add a bolster in there. But be mindful, you don't want to overdo it for Vata here. So whichever variation you're taking, coming down. And now, letting that chest make contact with the earth. Visualize that you're this frog and you are sitting on the edge of this pond. The sun is out. You're soaking up the warmth of the sun as you sit by the water. And you're sitting on the edge of the water where it's kind of muddy. A little bit of water, a little bit of dirt makes mud. That quality of the sun and the water and the dirt is so grounding for Vata. When you think of the dryness, the coldness, the lightness of Vata, and then you think of warm mud, what could be better for Vata? So just be that frog for a moment. Embody your frogness fully and sit in the mud, in the sun. And then inhale, coming back up. Bringing the knees together, sitting off onto your right hip, extending the right leg out, and taking the left foot over the outside of the right leg to the outside. Make sure you're right up on your sits bones. We're going to get ready for Ardha Matsyendrasana, half spinal twist. Go ahead and take that left hand around behind you, drawing it in close to your tailbone. And inhale, reaching tall through the right arm. Lift through the right fingertips. And then exhale, twisting to the left. Either hugging that left knee in or hooking that left elbow on the outside. Turning to gaze back over your back shoulder. Now, as you're holding this, continue to breathe down into the abdomen. Don't let the breath escape the abdomen just because you have your thigh pressing into it, but continue to breathe into the belly. Exhale, untwist, switching sides. Extend the left leg out, flexing the left toes back. Bring the right foot around to the outside of the right leg. And bring your right arm all the way around, in close to your tailbone. Inhale that left arm tall. And exhale, twisting to the right. Turning to gaze back over your right shoulder. Breathing here. Feeling that twist. Let the breath come right down into the belly. Be mindful not to over twist. It's a great way to aggravate Vata. So twist a little too deep and aggravate the SI joint around the sacrum. So be gentle. Keep Vata happy. Exhale, untwist. Extending both legs out in front of you. Toes pointing up towards the ceiling. Paschimottanasana, your seated forward fold. Now, if you tend to have hamstring tension, or if today your hamstrings are feeling a little bit tight, feel free to take that blanket, roll it up, and tuck it underneath your knees. With straight-legged forward folds in Vata, we just want to be mindful that we don't overdo it. Inhale, take those arms up, reaching up towards the ceiling, and exhale, hinging forward, making sure that you don't overdo it in the backs of the legs or in your low back. A great way to aggravate Vata dosha is to forward bend too deeply. Breathing here. Let your awareness come inwards. Vata, which can have a tendency to get pulled outwards and upwards, needs to come inwards to find grounding. Inhale, rolling back up, releasing the shoulders back. Bend your right knee, opening fully that right hip and setting the sole of the right foot down into the left inner thigh. Janu Shirsasana, head to knee pose. Make sure your hips are pointing forward here. Then inhale, reach those arms up. Give a twist of the lower abdomen towards the left, like you're going to take your navel and turn it out to the left side. And then exhale, hinging forward down over that left leg. And again, if you need to tuck that blanket underneath so you don't overstretch the back of the left leg, feel free to do so. Letting the head sink down, shoulders level over the floor, and relaxing here and breathing. Keep that breath steady. If you've forgotten the Ujjayi breath somewhere in your practice, draw it back in now. It doesn't have to be your deepest Ujjayi, but a steady, gentle, ocean-sounding breath. Inhale, coming on back up, switching sides. Extend the right leg out. Draw the left knee in, rolling the left hip fully open in the hip socket, bringing that left foot into the right inner thigh, and right up on those sits bones. Inhale the arms tall, exhale twisting to the right, turning the navel out over the right thigh, and exhale folding down over that right leg. Head relaxing down. And please be mindful not to overstretch the hamstring or the back of the leg. Steady breathing in and out. Inhale, coming on back up. Roll those shoulders back. Extend the left leg out. Bending your knees, engaging your core, and rolling down onto your back. Placing the feet hip width apart in front of the buttocks. Placing your hands by your side in preparation for Setu Bandhasana, bridge pose. Palms down. Just for a moment, tilt and tuck the pelvis back and forth just a couple times to bring awareness into that low back and pelvic region. Continuing to cultivate awareness of this region, openness, fluidity to balance Vata. And now grounding the hands, grounding the feet, press down into the feet to lift the hips up, arching the back, tuck or clasp the hands together, drawing the shoulders underneath the body. Keep pressing up with those hips. Make sure that your knees are remaining hip width apart and aren't splaying out to either side, and that you're powering up this pose with the legs, opening the front of the body, breathing into the abdomen, enkindling the Agni with these open back bends. And then slowly rolling down, vertebrae by vertebrae, till you come back to the floor. Gently draw the knees in and just very lightly hold the legs and rock a little bit side to side. Letting the left leg come out long, shifting your hips over to the right side a bit. keeping that right knee up. Guide that right knee over towards the left side while you open your right arm out to a T. Palm can be up or down, letting the face roll out over your right shoulder. Jatara Parivartanasana, your reclined twist. Be mindful you're not overdoing it. You don't want to create any strain in the SI joint here. It's just as far as works for you, but feel that twist into the low back and mid back. Unwind out of that twist. Bringing your hips back to center. Extending the right leg long. Drawing the left leg up. Opening that left arm out to the side. And guiding that left knee over to the right side. And letting your face roll out over that left shoulder. Again, breathing into the twist. Breathe into your abdomen. Breathe into your low back. Breathe into the mid back. Releasing tension from the low back and abdomen. And then untwisting out of that. Returning onto your back. Hug your knees in one more time. And then coming up to a wall for Viparita Karani Asana. Legs up the wall. Or if you're not near a wall and you want to just take this on your mat, bringing the feet up to a 90 or sliding a block or a blanket under you. If you do have a wall near you, that is preferable for the Vata practice. So you can slide that blanket up onto, right up against the wall. Slide your hips up onto the wall, twisting, taking your legs up the wall. And let the head find its relaxed position. Arms can be out to the side, or very helpful for Vata is to place the hands over the abdomen here. And just begin to breathe for a few minutes. Relaxing your body. This pose is excellent for balancing Vata. A calming Vata inversion where the whole body can relax without creating excess stress or strain in the body. Some inversions, we'll speak about this later in the techniques class, just serve only to really increase the Vata more. So of all the inversions, this is a really great one for Vata. So feeling your whole body relax. Feeling your legs and your feet relax. Letting the blood and the lymph be gravity fed back to your heart. Breathing in and breathing out. You can continue to stay here for a few more minutes if you'd like. You can pause the video and just continue to relax here. This is a great restorative pose to stay in for Vata for 5 or 10 minutes. Or if it's feeling like you've had enough, then you can start to roll out to your right side. For the sake of the recording, I'll continue with the class. But if you're choosing to pause it for a moment, just enjoy that posture. And then once you come out of legs up the wall, come right on to your back for Shavasana. Make sure that you're warm enough. Take time to cover yourself up with a blanket. It's really important that you don't cool off too much during the Shavasana as a Vata. And if Vata is feeling high, get a pillow or a bolster will work for this too. And place it over your abdomen. You can also cross your hands over your abdomen. And just place that there as you come into Shavasana. Beginning to relax. Now continue to stay in your Shavasana. I'm sitting up just to guide you through a relaxation here. So make yourself comfortable on your back. Shavasana is so important for Vata. Coming to regular relaxation is key. And so breathing in and breathing out. Letting your whole body release tension. Bring your awareness down to your feet and your toes. Imagine that as you breathe in, you're breathing in through the center of your toes, right into the bones of your toes. And you're breathing into the bone marrow itself of the toes. And as you breathe out, your awareness moves back out through the center of the bones of the toes, releasing any tension. Feel the breath as it comes in again. Coming in through the center of the bones of the toes and through the center of the bones of the feet. Nourishing that bone marrow. And on the exhale, you release any stress, any tension back out through the feet and toes. Again, with an inhale, the awareness comes in like golden nectar, rising in through the center of the toes, through the bones of the feet, and up through the bones of the ankles and lower legs. And then on the exhale, the awareness flows back down, releasing anything that no longer serves you, down the legs, out through the feet and toes. Inhale, drawing that nourishing golden nectar in on the in-breath through the bone marrow of the toes, the feet, up through the bones of the ankles and the lower legs, through the knees and up through the bones of the thighs. And on the exhale, the awareness flows back out through the femurs of the thighs, the knees, down the lower leg bones, ankles, feet, and toes. Awareness coming back in through the toes, nourishing through the center of the bones of the feet, the ankles, lower legs, knees, upper thighs, right up into the hips and pelvis. And there it circulates for a bit. Releasing out, taking with it any tension from the pelvis, thighs, knees, lower legs, ankles, feet, and toes. And again, that nectar comes up through the bone marrow of your toe bones, your feet bones, your ankles, lower legs, knees, thighs, hips and pelvis, and then begins to make its way up through the spine, nourishing every vertebrae. And then as you exhale, releasing anything you don't need, taking away any negativity as that light moves back down through the spine, through the pelvis, thighs, knees, lower legs, ankles, feet, toes. And once again, that light comes in like a wave, coming into the bone marrow of the toes, the feet, the ankles, up through the center of the bones of the lower legs, the knees, the thighs, the pelvis, right up through the center of the spine. Then it moves out through the center of each rib, wrapping around to the front of the chest. And on the exhale, releasing tension, negativity, stress, worry from the ribs, from the spine, from the pelvis, hips, thigh bones, knees, lower legs, ankles, feet, toes. And again, you feel that light coming in, nourishing the bones, coming right into the bone marrow of the toes, the feet, the ankles, lower legs, knees, thighs, hips and pelvis, right up through the center of the spine, around each rib. And now it begins to descend down the arms, upper arms, elbows, lower arms. And then that light recedes, eliminating any negativity and stress and tension from the arms, shoulders, ribs, spine, pelvis, thighs, knees, lower legs, ankles, feet, and toes. And again, that light enters through the center of the bones of the toes, right through the feet, the ankles, up through the lower legs, knees, center of the bones of the thighs, hips and pelvis, up through the spine, around through each rib, up into the shoulders, out the upper arm bones, elbows, lower arm bones, through the bones of the wrists, and out through the hands and the fingers. And then that light retraces its path back through the hands, the wrists, the lower arms, elbows, upper arms, shoulders, out the ribs, spine, down to the pelvis, thighs, knees, lower legs, ankles, feet, and toes. And once again, that light comes in, nourishing the bones, letting your awareness travel through the center of the bones of the toes, feet, ankles, lower legs, knees, thighs, pelvis, up to the spine, around each rib, to the bones of the shoulders, upper arms, elbows, lower arms, wrists, hands, fingers. And that light also travels right up from the top of the spine up into the cranium, around the bones of the skull. And then it flows back out, taking anything you don't need from the head, from the fingers, hands, wrists, lower arms, elbows, upper arms, shoulders, ribs, spine, pelvis, thighs, knees, lower legs, ankles, feet, toes. Feel your whole body deeply nourished, deeply relaxed, right at the center of each bone. relaxing into quiet and stillness. Gently bringing awareness back into the room that you're practicing in. Beginning to deepen your breath. Wiggling your fingers and toes. Reawakening your body. And when you feel ready, you can gently roll over onto your right side. And slowly press yourself up into a seated position. We're going to close this Vata pacifying practice with a short mantra practice. I'm going to invite you to do a mudra while we do this mantra. So this is a mudra to Ganesha. Now take your first finger and cross it over your middle finger on each hand. This. And you're going to take your ring finger and pinky and interlace them, tucked on the inside. And you're going to just put those middle fingers together. And then your thumbs will just cross over one another like this. And they can just rest down on your lap. We're going to do a mantra to Ganesha. Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha. Salutations to Ganesh, the elephant-headed deity. So Ganesh is a wonderful deity to cultivate for Vata. Ganesh is grounding, sweet, steady. When you think of an elephant and how it lumbers through the forest, so dense, steady, stable. It's really wonderful energy to cultivate for Vata. So we'll chant this together. If you want to see the words, they are in your manual, at the beginning of the manual in the mantra section. So you can close your eyes. I'll begin chanting, and you can just join in with me when you feel ready. It doesn't matter what you sound like. Just enjoy the practice of chanting. Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha. 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 Gam Ganapataye Namaha. Om 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 Gam Ganapataye Namaha. Hear the mantra silently within you. Closing, chanting Om one time, integrating the Vata pacifying practice. May you have a steady, grounded, rhythmic day. Namaste.
Krishna Krishna Hare Hare